Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Good morning, boys. How is everybody doing? I hope, inshallah, everybody is doing well. By the grace of Allah, everybody's going to be okay. So, thank you for coming on time. It's very commendable. And today, the topic that we'll be discussing is about the biological molecules. So, we're going to wrap up today. We're going to just end up, inshallah, today. So, please turn on your webcam so I can have a glimpse of you guys that you're all ready. Good, Mansoor, excellent job. This is the first time I'm looking at Mansoor's webcam. And anybody else? Nobody else. So boys, it is kind of not compulsory, but almost necessary to turn on the webcams. And the administration has, what do you call it? They have decided that any student who has an excuse that I'm not sitting in an appropriate place and there are family members around, so this excuse will not be accepted. And what do we call it? Yes, Cynthia, welcome back. So you have to manage a place where you are by yourself because this is a session where you're learning, inshallah, so you need to be away from the people. Okay, so those who are unable to turn on their webcams, that's the last call for them. Okay, so let's start. Today's session is about biological molecules, and we will be going through these objectives and some of the critical questions. So let's start with the critical questions, and then we will go to a small video. Yes, Ghazi.
Mister, I'll close the webcam. I'll go to the bathroom.
Okay, please make it fast. So let's go to the critical questions. Awais, there are multiple logins from you. There's Awais Mike, and there is Awais, and then there is another Awais. How many Awais do we have? Okay, let's mute Ghazi because he's gone to the toilet. And let's see the chat. One is camera, one is for mic. But you're using the bandwidth. So the camera doesn't have a mic. You're using a PC. Okay. So the PC has a mic and has a camera. No? You don't have a camera? Okay. So where do I see you? I still don't see your camera on. So please turn on the webcam. Just okay, good job. So we have Awais, we have Via, Mansoor, and Ghazi. So let's start the session. Bismillah. So these are the critical questions like what are enzymes? We will have a wrap up about it. We have been discussing this for about more than 2 weeks. What is the role of the enzymes, and then what are the biological molecules, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats? So anybody would like to share his views about the enzymes? What do you guys think? What's an enzyme? Can a human body survive for a day without the enzymes activities? Just one day? Yes or yes?
Mister, what I know about enzymes is that they have an active site and the substrate go in the active sites to break down
Good,
or
that's
join.
excellent. That's excellent. But what do you think that can a human body survive a day without the enzymes functioning? Can we live a day without enzymes?
I don't think. I don't know.
You can. Okay, good. So Mansoor, what do you think? Do you have an answer? It's just an opinion. It doesn't matter. It's a right or wrong answer. We're not discussing right or wrong at the moment. But do you think that the human body can live without the enzyme for 1 day.
I don't think so
Why is that?
because I okay. So enzymes it makes food like it like dissolves food, right?
Right.
Okay, so maybe like is better. Enzymes have it in our stomach
Okay.
because you never know like if you get like you never know you want to get a stomach ache or something like that. There will be a problem with your stomach.
That is true. That is true. You might get stomach disorder. You might have a running stomach. But
Hmm.
what do you think that we can't live without food for a day? Let's say if I'm not eating anything for a day, will I be able to survive?
Um, no.
So the scientists say that the humans can survive without the food for 2 to 3 days. And if he's in a
Okay,
very
miss.
good shape,
It
yes,
depends.
yes.
It depends where are like where are you? Like, are you in a desert? Are you in the beach? Or you never know.
All right. So let's keep things in a, what do we call, an average normal. You're living in a city, you're in a house. So will be able to survive without food for 1 day.
Okay.
So, okay, let's see what Ghazi has to say. Thank you, Mansoor. It's
Mister,
just
I know
like,
about enzymes. Enzymes are like a biological catalyst, and we can survive without it. But it will be like about 1 day, 2 days. Because Mister, if you eat like a kabsa or mfattahat, Mister, your kitchen will be big. It cannot fast it.
all right, so you all are thinking that enzymes are related with the digestion. We have a lot of chemical reactions going on in our body. For example, making of new cells and growing the muscles and using the glucose in the muscles, movement. These are all chemical reactions happening. The growth of the hair, the growth of the skin, and the saliva being produced in my mouth, and the nails growing out. This is all because of the chemical reactions happening inside the body. All these chemical reactions need enzymes. Even the oxygen that we breathe, when it goes into a cell, it has to utilize that oxygen with the glucose so that you can move. So if we stop the activity of enzyme, I don't think so a human body will be able to survive a day. It's just an opinion. We might
It's not
be,
fast enough.
what is
Mister,
fast enough?
there a theory that
Like the reactions, they need enzyme to be fast enough.
Yes, they need the chemical reaction to get it done as it should be in appropriate time. Thank you, always.
Mister, I want to say something.
Yes, so Ghazi.
Mister, do you have a theory to support your claim?
I said it's an opinion, it's not a theory.
No, Mister, to support like what you said. I want a theory, not something.
I don't have a theory, I just gave my opinion. There's a difference between opinion and theory. We were
Okay.
discussing opinions. All right. So there will be a video. Let's watch the new video on based on this one, the updated one. Let me turn on the sound for this. Let's see if you guys can listen to it.
Go ahead and think for a moment about your very favorite food. What is it? Pizza, macaroni and cheese, chicken salad, sushi? Well, we all have different food preferences, but food is a source of large molecules that are needed for life called biomolecules. There are four major biomolecules that make up all of life, and this will be the focus of this video. Before we get into details about the four biomolecules, we need to talk about one very important vocabulary word, the word monomer. A monomer is a building block. If I had some large substance, the parts that make up the substance are called monomers, just like building blocks. We're going to talk a lot about monomers today because we need to understand what the biomolecules are made of. And we need to understand biomolecules because they're building components of life. So let's introduce the 4 biomolecules now and talk a little bit about their functions. We'll start with carbohydrates, carbs. Well, carbs are something that you've probably heard a lot about when people are talking about diets. They try to go low carb, or maybe they want a lot of carbs. Diets always come and go. Pasta and breads are examples of foods heavy in carbohydrates. Carbs are actually a very important source of energy. In fact, that's one big function of carbs. They are a great, fast source of energy. If you are a marathon runner, you might want to eat a lot of carbs the night before a race. Lots of marathon runners do this. It's called pasta loading. They eat a big pasta dinner the night before they go out on their marathon. Now, carbs have a monomer. Again, remember, monomers are building blocks. The monomer for a carb is a monosaccharide. I know that's a big mouthful, but monosaccharides make up carbohydrates. Next one up is a diverse group known as lipids. Lipids are better known as fats, and they have 2 different types of building blocks. One type of building block is called a fatty acid, and the other type is called a glycerol. Now, examples of lipids include butter, oil, and cholesterol. Lipids, though, they have a lot of great functions. You might think, well, that's fat. How good can fat be? Well, it just depends when you put it into context. For example, those really adorable seals that you see on calendars? They have this fluffy white hair. They're actually called a harp seal. Well, they only look like that when they're babies. When they get older, they're not quite as cute. In their little baby stage, they actually have a lot of this hair that they're born with that keeps them warm. But over time, they have to develop blubber. It's fat, and it helps keep them warm. Lipids are great for insulating. Also, you might not think about fats as being related to energy, but fats are a great source of long-term energy. They can store energy for a long, long time. Say, for example, you wanted to swim the English Channel. That's like 21 miles of swimming. And the fastest swimmers might be able to do that in 7 or 8 hours, but it might take a lot longer than that for the average swimmer. More like 25 hours, and that's a lot of swimming. Well, you would want to make sure that your body has enough lipids, enough stored fat that it can pull upon. Because after you burn off those carbohydrates, remember, carbs are the fast source of energy, well, you might not have enough energy storage unless you have some lipids on hand. Lipids also make up cell membranes, so they are very important for life because all living things are made of cells. Of course, an excessive amount of lipids could be a bad thing for your health. Remember, it's all about moderation. Okay, next, proteins. Now, when you hear about proteins, a lot of times you might think about power bars. They say they have a lot of protein in them and that they help with muscle building. Well, protein is great for muscle building. Examples of foods that are high in protein include meats and many types of beans. The monomers of protein are amino acids. So sometimes you see these labels that say, this has 20 amino acids in this food. And really, they're just trying to say that it has protein. Because proteins are made of amino acids, so that's just some fancy advertising for you. But in addition to being important for muscle development, protein is also very important for other functions, such as working in the immune system and acting as enzymes. Remember, enzymes are made of proteins, so proteins are important for the body. Now, when we start talking about genes, the DNA genes, not the genes you wear, the DNA codes for proteins that are very important for structure and function in the body. The last biomolecule is known as a nucleic acid. Nucleic acids include DNA and RNA, which we'll get to when we get to genetics. They have a monomer called a nucleotide. That's going to be an easy one for you to remember because nucleotide sounds a lot like nucleic acid. And if considering DNA and RNA, both of these are involved in genetic information for the coding of your traits. They are found in a lot of your food because whenever you eat something that came from something once living, it can still contain the DNA. For example, When you eat a strawberry, you're actually consuming all the cells that make up that strawberry. And in the nucleus of all those strawberry cells is DNA. Plants and animals both have DNA. In fact, any type of life must contain nucleic acids to direct the cell's activities. So we just powered through introducing the 4 biomolecules by providing examples, exploring their monomers, and giving some general functions. One last very important part to mention is the structure of these biomolecules. Understanding the structure can help with predicting their properties and easily being able to identify them. One thing I like to tell students to do is to write the 4 biomolecules in the same order that we went through: carbs, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. Then remember this mnemonic device that goes with these 4 biomolecules: cho, cho, chan, chomp. Instead of chomp at the end with an M, it's chomp at the end with an N. The C stands for carbon, the H stands for hydrogen, the O for oxygen. So carbs, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids all have that CHO in there. It's just that proteins and nucleic acids also have an N, which is nitrogen. And nucleic acids additionally have a P, which is for phosphorus. So again, CHO, CHO, CHON, CHOMP, the major elements in the 4 biomolecules. Now, these elements are arranged differently in the 4 biomolecules. It's important to explore the arrangement of the elements in biomolecules because the structure of that arrangement greatly impacts the biomolecule function. So, to the Google to discover some biomolecule arrangement illustrations. Well, that's it for the Amoeba Sisters, and we remind you to stay curious.
Okay, so we have a question on the chat. Yes, Hamza, very good. You got it all right. So, Ghazi, yes, what would you like to add?
Mister, I don't want to add. I want to ask you something.
Yes.
Mister, people like vegetarians, from where they get protein?
Sorry, people are what? Vegetarian?
People who was born vegetarian, not vegan, like some
Yes,
people.
yes, those people are actually unable to get complete amino acids. They will get, mashallah. You have to grow up, boys. And this is Hamza. Please don't do
Hamza
that
Sharif.
again. Sorry?
This is Hamza Sharif.
Yes, Hamza has to grow up. And I'll have to talk to his parent about this today, inshallah. So, Hamza, no, I have to. Sorry about that. So, when we discussed, there are 40 different kinds of amino acids, and 8 of them we are unable to produce in our body. So we are dependent on the external resources. Plants have them, dairy products have them. So
But Mr. Duck don't have
yes,
like when you eat like a
they
cow.
will not be having those which are in the meat. So fish, chicken, and the dairy products like from the mutton and the goats and the camels and the cows, they also contain some of those amino acids which is not available in any other substance. So they are actually malnutrition. So they are not healthy.
Mister, how how their body produce a many molecule enzymes? I mean,
The body
they,
will be they will not be producing everything. They are not healthy. They will be malnutritioned. They are not physically healthy. Right? There's a video on this, a complete video where they will show that what kind of diseases they might develop if they stay vegan for the rest of their lives. It can imbalance their thinking abilities. It affects the brain as well with the hormones. It affects the mood. You know, the hormones, the neurotransmitters, the brain functionality is kindly disturbed if these amino acids are not provided in the body. So let's go to the next clip. We have seen these clips before. I'll try to go to the third one, and then we'll have a small test. We have about 20 minutes. Yes. After this video, we'll have a test on the GCSE pod and how we can identify different molecules are present in the body. Food tests. So let's start with this. Okay, this is a 16-minute clip. No, that would take a lot of time. Sorry. There's this one.
Molecules make you think of chemistry, right? Well, they're also very important in biology. In this video, we're going to look at carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. When I say lipids, I'm talking about fats and oils. Life processes depend on biological molecules, whose structure is related to their function. Did you know that living organisms are actually made from quite a small group of molecules? What do you think the most common molecule in you is? It's actually water. About 55 to 60% of an adult human's body weight comes from water. And in some organisms, this can be up to 90%. Your muscles and kidneys are particularly watery, at about 79%, but even your bones are made up of 31% water. Bet you didn't expect that. Okay, enough of water for now. Imagine we removed all the water in your body. What would be left? Well, it would pretty much be just proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, and nucleic acids such as DNA. So what are these all made of? Well, carbohydrates and lipids are really simple. They just contain three elements: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Proteins are a little more complex, with 4 or 5 elements: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and sometimes sulfur. Let's start by looking at carbohydrates. There are 3 main types of carbohydrate: monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. Simple sugars like glucose and fructose are monosaccharides. Sucrose, which is made up of 2 simple sugars joined together, is a disaccharide. And some carbohydrates are polymers that are made up of lots of sugars joined together, and so are called polysaccharides. Starch, glycogen, and cellulose are 3 important polysaccharides. Cellulose is found in plant walls, and starch is the storage unit for surplus glucose made in photosynthesis. Glycogen is the storage unit used by animals for surplus glucose, and is found in the liver and muscle tissues. Starch is tested for using an iodine solution. If the solution turns blue-black, then starch is present. Now on to proteins. Proteins are also polymers, but whereas in carbohydrates the monomer or repeating unit was glucose, for proteins it's amino acids. The protein then folds up into a complex 3D shape, which is held together by weak bonds. The function of each protein depends on its shape. Because enzymes are proteins and the bonds holding proteins together are weak, this is why enzymes denature above certain temperatures. The bonds are broken and the structure of the protein is changed. There are 20 different amino acids that make up proteins. The order of amino acids varies in different proteins, and so 20 different amino acids means an almost infinite number of different proteins can be made. It is estimated that there are about 50,000 different proteins in the human body alone. You will come across proteins nearly everywhere. For example, in cell membranes, where they control the movement of substances during active transport, as enzymes, so in photosynthesis, respiration, DNA copying, and digestion, as hormones, such as insulin, estrogen, and testosterone, and as antibodies for fighting infection. So that's proteins and carbohydrates. Let's end with lipids. Many lipids are triglycerides. These have a single glycerol molecule with 3 fatty acid tails attached. Different lipids contain different fatty acids. Triglycerides are a form of dietary fat found in meats, dairy, and cooking oils. The liver also makes triglycerides. They are used by cells and tissue for energy, or otherwise stored as fat. Some examples of lipids are steroid hormones, cholesterol, vitamin A, and vitamin D. So there you have it, the 3 key biological molecules that are essential to living processes: carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids.
If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. Comment below if you have any questions. Why not check out our few schools?
So that was the small introduction on the basis of that. The important clip
as well.
is
Until next.
The food tests. See, we have learned that there are three kinds of reagents. One is Benedict solution, the second was iodine solution, and the third one was biuret solution. So we're gonna go through them and we're gonna see those tests again. And
A
I'm gonna
cheeseburger contains a juicy beef burger, oozy cheese, crisp lettuce and tomato, and sweet tomato ketchup, all held in a soft bread bun. No, this isn't an advert for fast food or a way of making you hungry. We're going to see if a cheeseburger contains some of the main food groups: starch, sugars, protein, fat, and vitamins. How? By discussing food tests.
Let's start with starch. Starch is a carbohydrate made up of long chains of glucose molecules. It's a food store in plants. Which part of the cheeseburger do you think will be high in starch? It's the bun, because buns are made from flour, which contains starch from wheat.
To test for starch, you use iodine solution, which is an orange-brown colour. When iodine solution is added to starch, it forms a complex with starch molecules and goes a blue-black colour.
What happens when iodine is added to the bun? It goes blue-black. This is a positive result, so the bun must contain starch. What about sugars, or more specifically, a type of sugar called reducing sugar? Glucose and fructose are reducing sugars found in plant material. The tomato ketchup is sweet, so it's likely to contain sugars. How do you test for reducing sugars?
You take a small amount of the food and mix it with Benedict solution. If the food is solid, you'll have to grind it up with water in a pestle and mortar, then add it to the Benedict solution. You then heat the mixture in a water bath. Benedict solution is blue but turns green to orange and then brick red if reducing sugars are present. The tomato ketchup gives a positive result, so it does contain a reducing sugar.
Next up, what about proteins? What parts of the cheeseburger might contain protein? Well, the burger and the cheese are both animal products. Let's test the burger. First, because it's solid, you need to grind it up with some water to form a liquid. Then you add some of the liquid to some biuret solution and wait for a few minutes. If protein is present, the pale blue colour of the biuret solution turns purple.
Yes, another positive result, so the burger contains protein. Cheese is high in fat. To test for fats and oils, you use the ethanol test. First, you grind up the food with some water. Then you add some of the food mixture to a test tube containing ethanol. The cheese mixture turns the clear ethanol cloudy, and this is a positive test for fat.
So we know that the cheeseburger contains starch, sugars, protein and fat. What else? Let's test for vitamin C. You might not think a cheeseburger contains any vitamins, but the tomato is a fruit, so it may well contain some vitamin C.
A chemical called DC-PIP is used to test for the presence of vitamin C. The first step is to grind up the tomato to extract some juice. You then add drops of blue DC-PIP one at a time and shake the mixture after each addition. Count the number of drops as you go. To begin with, the blue colour of each DC-PIP drop disappears. But after you've added several drops, the mixture stays blue. Record how many drops you added before it stayed blue. The more drops you added, the more vitamin C the food sample contains.
But beware, if the food you're testing has a strong colour or more than 5 centimetres cubed of DC-PIP is decolorised, you need to dilute the food mixture. You can use this test to compare the amounts of vitamin C in different foods by using a burette to measure the volume of DC-PIP needed to decolorise the foods. The test shows that the tomato is quite high in vitamin C content. So our cheeseburger contains all the main food groups: starch, sugars, protein, fat and vitamin C. At least one part is good for you.
All right, any questions about this? Sorry. Okay. So Ghazi, you're yawning as well. Tired?
Yeah, we saw this video and I want to see something. Why many people, like in doctors, say burgers are bad, but the video show they are healthy, they have all groups of everything.
Yes, the burger contains everything, but it is still considered as a junk food because it contains high amount of fats and the bad type of fat. You know, there are two kinds of cholesterol that our body has. One is called HDL and the other one is LDL. So the good cholesterol is less in it and bad cholesterol is high in it. It can increase your blood pressure. So uh, the burger contains the proteins, but we
Miss,
fry them. Yes.
okay, I understand this point. I have another point. Before this, we have videos. They say, Mr. about the cholesterol is they have yellow something. It's clear yellow. Some kids when they are born after 1 or 2 months, they have like a yellow and they name it cholesterol because they have high cholesterol and low cholesterol. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure about the yellow thing, but can you find that video and then highlight it to me?
Okay.
Okay, good job. So we have Basim. Yes, Basim.
Mister,
Yes.
there is a doctor that says almonds has everything you need. It says it have protein, fat, fiber, magnesium, vitamin, and sugar and cholesterol. Is that fake or true?
Yes, the almonds has almost every important element, but it's not like a complete meal for us. It has a wide variety. It has some omega-3 inside of them, which is a good fat. And they have magnesium, which is also very important for our body. But you cannot say that it is a complete meal. You cannot skip everything and say, I'm going to live on almonds and I'm going to be healthy. But it is important to have almonds in your life because they are the most important job they do is they protect your brain. They are the bodyguards of the brain. So the
Thank you, Mister.
almonds contain fiber because they are plants, and yes, he is quite right, but do not misinterpret him. All right. Abdullah has a question. Yes, Abdullah.
Yeah, it's not really. Wait, is this thing on? Look, can you hear me? So I'm not wasting my time. Oh yeah, it's working. All right, good. I just want to say something about who said something about the burgers. Yeah, Ghazi. And the burger. If you look at the ingredients itself, it would be pretty healthy. It got the carbohydrates, got the protein, and everything. But it's first of all very high on sodium. That's really you're tiring your
Yeah,
kidneys there.
sure.
And most of the things there would be saturated and whatnot and artificial, which could cause, God forbid, things like cancer. And the thing itself could cause like cholesterol problems and heart problems. So yes, the ingredients itself, if you eat them by themselves, they're healthy. But when you put them together, or especially get them from outside, it becomes absolutely bad.
That's absolutely right. And even the ketchup contains high amount of
Yes,
sodium.
fructose.
Fructose isn't good enough, and they have corn syrup as well. High amount of sugars in it.
Diabetes,
So yes,
even though it's very
I am suffering diabetes. So I've been eating a lot of junk food, and I'm a living example of what is the junk food. And Ghazi
yeah.
wants to say something, so I'll keep your both mics open.
Okay, Mister, I want to say something about diabetes. Mister, do ketogenic diet. Diabetes will go.
Who will go?
Yeah, Mister. Yes, it will go, Mister. My grandfather have like a diabetes for more than 20 years. He do ketogenic diet now for 6 months, and his average is like 89, 90, 95, and it was always the average before he do ketogenic diet. It was about like 200, 100, 190, 250, 300 sometimes.
My God.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah, that's a good news. He is recovered. So he's
Yeah,
able
but I
to.
wanted to say if somebody is like pre-diabetic or like type 2 diabetic, still not that serious.
No,
You
it's
know,
serious.
yeah, all you have to do for somebody is like that, basically don't eat that much sugar. It's
Don't
not
eat
like,
carb.
thank God, not like type 2 diabetes. It's just yeah, like I said, you could go on a keto diet. A type 2 diabetes, I'm not sure, but type 1 diabetes, I think, yeah, it can happen like what Ghazi said.
No, I mean type 2. Type 1 is you cannot recover from type
Sorry,
1 because
I meant sorry, type 2, sorry. I always get
Yes.
confused between two and one.
if I say
The
healthy
worst
burger,
one, which is type
Abdullah,
1, right?
yeah,
The
yes,
Yes.
worst one is type 1.
Type
That one
1
is the one.
is inherited. You
plus
are
your
born with a defect.
pancreas is not doing insulin
Mm.
anymore.
Yes, and type 2
Yes, Mister.
is acquired.
About the burger, when I say I want to eat burger, I don't mean I want to go eat burger from Allahumma salli ala Muhammad McDonald's. I want to go like in a fancy place to eat burger.
It's still bad, but I think it's not as bad as McDonald's.
Yes, because
You're going to get some benefits, but you're also getting way worse than you're getting the benefit. Yes, you're gonna get some things from the cheese. Yes, you're gonna get the protein from the meat. Yes, you're gonna get the carbs. Yes, but as well, you're getting a lot of the saturated fats and the cholesterol and then the all of that things that's would be harmful.
Mister is this, when you eat like Mister is the same like eat on a burger, the same like eating steak with a bread.
Steak. No, Abdullah, no, you're not allowed to laugh like this. Come on.
Yes,
We are having a
just
serious
imagine,
discussion. And some
I
people
imagine I imagine
usually
me going to a fancy restaurant and putting bread on a steak. That's why I laughed.
Yes.
this is usually what people think, so we shouldn't be laughing at each other. It's a serious conversation going on.
No, I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing at.
Yeah, Ghazi has a point that there's a steak and then there's a patty burger. Look, patty burger is being deep fried, right?
Mister, I mean like when you go to fancy restaurant, you will not fry the burger; they will grill it.
They will grill it. So grilled will have a different composition, yes, but still you'll have to check if it is properly grilled. And mostly those food which are highly grilled, they are cancerous as well.
Mister, I don't
even
like Mister. Some people, mostly in Saudi Arabia, Mister, they eat like the burger or the steak. I heard so many people they say for the extra well done, extra well done. Mister, not like that. It have to be Mister like
rare
rare
medium.
well, medium
Rare,
well.
yes.
But I was just going to say that even though if it's grilled or fried, the meat itself could have preservatives and whatnot that would make it stay longer, like artificial things everywhere.
This is the most important point.
Yeah, it's almost inevitable to escape things like that.
Okay, Mister, you want to say something? Some people, Mister, Allahumma salli Muhammad, most people of fat have Mister, most people who are fat, they have Mister, a long storage of lipids, Mister. But like me, I eat so much, but I don't get fat. But Mister, I don't have a storage of lipids. Why like that? Why I don't have strong storage of lipids? What's the cause?
Are you looking to get fat?
Yes, Mister, I eat like Mister so much, I never get fat.
Say alhamdulillah then. It's a
Why,
good thing. It's a good thing that you're not becoming fat. It's the metabolism and the small intestine which absorbs the nutrients. Some people absorb every nutrient and some people just let it bypass it. Let it go. So your intestine is only absorbing the good nutrients and what your body needs and is letting go the rest. It's just storing any fats. So you're healthy, mashallah. Enjoy eating everything and don't get fat.
Yes, Mister, I enjoy. But Mister, my brothers and my sister is always doing diets. I never do a diet.
That's sad news. All right, boys, the time is up for the lesson. So, inshallah, we'll go to the next session tomorrow, and I'm stopping the recording now.